welcome to Check Out This Guy, the podcast where you can just imagine all of us wearing cool masks over our heads, because it's the apocalypse, baby. We gotta filter that air. I'm Emory. Pronouns are they, she, he. We're doing Grey Pollen again, folks.
I'm Morg. My pronouns are they, he. My desk is squeaking at me. I would not be very successful in the apocalypse because I still need all of these things, like these computers and stuff. I would just die.
Yeah. I like to think that I would have some survival skills because I was in scouts, but in all likelihood I would just die.
I'm Katze. My pronouns are also they, she, he. And I would give myself like a 50-50 chance. I would do great. Except for the part where sometimes I forget how to breathe properly.
Oh no! I could maybe be okay because I know people who are better at surviving and stuff, but it's one of those things where it's like, wouldn't be great.
I would not be eating any meat because my hunting skills are not very good. I can't catch my blind cat sometimes.
Here's the thing, it's like 14 degrees out today.
no.
I think if it weren't for indoor heating, I would be completely fucking dead.
You mean Fahrenheit? I was like, that's such a high. What are you talking about? No, that's
yeah.
That's like a little bit below 0 in Celsius.
Yeah, that's like
just a tiny bit.
It's like 20 Fahrenheit here. So it's a little warmer, I guess.
I don't know what Fahrenheit translates to, but it's -3 where I am, so...
It's about -7.
We're all in the freezing times.
20 degrees is about -7, yeah.
Yeah.
But you guys are in worse freezing times. It's probably not even gonna freeze anymore next week for me.
Yeah, my room just is terribly insulated, so I'm kind of suffering right now. It's fine. I have a little heater. I just don't like to put it on when I'm recording. But to talk about something completely different, Grey Pollen, where it's a desert instead of fucking snow. I guess.
Yes.
I guess there is snowy deserts. I guess that's what a tundra is, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's wasteland, baby. So yeah, I think last time I feel like I talked mostly about like the world building and a little bit about the characters. This time I want to like get into the story, and like because this is something that just exists in my head, like I have not written very much of it, and by not very much of it I mean like a few pages of script.
I mean, to be fair, even if it's, like, not completely written down, I feel like you've been thinking about it for a while.
Yeah, it's been in my brain for a good few years now, and, like, even so, there are parts of it that aren't, like, really fully fleshed out, so I'm just, still parts where I might be like, yeah, this, just something sort of happens here, you know how it is, but yeah, I'm gonna try and do my best to give a sort of beginning to end accounting of this story we got here. So to kind of refresh everyone, Grey Pollen, it's the post-apocalypse. It's like we got a funny little Mad Max wasteland, and the air is super toxic to breathe because of the titular Grey Pollen. We have Titan drops and the Grey Titans, which are basically just fucking big monsters just made of objects, and just kind of like the junk that falls off of them are what people like scavenge through to like find the stuff they need to like survive and sort of build things up. Let's see, we got our characters, we got Vermin, who's a funny little opossum, we got Grub, who is a gay little bug boy, we got King Shit, who is strong, sexy lizard lady. And then we got Diamond, who is a bird. And then Hellclaw and Hard Eyes are two villains of the piece who are secretly actually the main characters.
I just quickly come in with a wow, those names, I love them. They were
Thank you.
amazing.
Yes, I think I did a pretty good job with the names on these characters. I love giving a character a name that is just like kind of a 1 or 2 word description of them. It's fun.
You're like, damn, that is a vermin. And
Yeah,
damn.
I think that.
So did you like warrior cats as a child, or
No, I was just about to say. I think that convention is like probably mostly inspired by Sonic the Hedgehog. You know.
Oh yeah,
You got Sonic because he's fast. You got Tails because he's got 2 of them. You got Knuckles because he punch.
You got Amy because she's Amy.
Yeah, precisely.
It's so clear.
Shadow, who is the dark, evil, spooky, but not evil version of Sonic.
That's right. And yeah, last time I did talk a lot about how these characters are pretty heavily Sonic influenced, you know. I kind of wanted to like take some of those character archetypes and fuck around with them, you know.
Yeah. Sonic will never have a character named King Shit.
Unfortunate, really.
I don't remember if you talked about this last time, but you changed one of the characters, like Animal recently was.
Yeah, I changed Hard Eyes. She used to. Okay. Man, the thing is, I went through like 5 different species for Hard Eyes, not really ever landing on anything in particular, but now I got one that I feel pretty okay about. I probably won't change it again at this point. So like, she started off as a Wolverine. I tried drawing that, but I couldn't like really nail a design that I liked. Then I changed her to a rabbit, then a porcupine, then a pangolin, and now finally I'm like, actually she's a fucking coyote. She looks like shit. She's been cutting her own hair for 12 years, and she absolutely looks like it.
I didn't realize she was a coyote now. I was like, the last time I heard was, I think the pangolin maybe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I posted about it in Show Us Your Guys at some point.
Yeah, you probably did. I just forgore.
Yeah. So I guess I'll just get into the plot then. So the thing opens up with Grub just kind of wandering around and dying in the desert. This is like just after he's been exiled. He's just been, he just kind of landed in the middle of the wasteland with kind of like nowhere to go exactly. So they're just kind of walking until until he finds something or dies, and he almost does the latter thing because he just collapses. Vermin comes across him, is like, hey, you're looking kind of like you're dead. That's pretty funny. Here, you can have some water though.
You're looking a little dead. Sorry, King.
Yeah, exactly. Right, this is the part that I have actually written, and from what little I've done of it, writing dialogue for Vermin is pretty fun because they're just a freak. They just kind of my imperative when writing Vermin is just make them say things in the funniest way possible.
Yeah, they seem very shonen protagonist-y a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they are kind of the Sonic archetype, so there's definitely some of that.
The way you describe them, it reminds me of the kind of people that I think of, like, how has no one punched them in the face yet?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, I wouldn't punch them in the face. But you hear the things they're saying and you think someone at some point is gonna punch you in the face.
Well, it's harder to punch someone in the face when they're wearing the mask, but you know.
The mask is actually not because of the pollution, it's because the face is too punchable otherwise.
Yeah, it's just face armor. Don't worry about it.
Grub doesn't need a mask. I remember that.
No, yeah, Grub, because the grubs are like all essentially sort of science experiments, trying to create gods, like they've kind of been like genetically tampered with and like given treatments so that they can like survive in the wasteland without a mask. So that's Grub's deal. They can just breathe without a mask, and Vermin is like, wow, that's weird, you're not from around here, huh? And then just like doesn't comment on it any further than that, despite the fact that Grub is like, like a being from another world with, that is, kind of has a remarkable and earth-shattering ability just right there. Vermin is like, oh, huh, that's neat.
No thoughts, head empty.
Vermin is pretty dumb, is the thing.
I assume one of the other, like, hero, quote-unquote, characters probably eventually would comment on it, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
One of the smarter ones, maybe. I know
Yeah.
I don't fully remember everything you talked about, but I do remember you sort of went into, like, what the Grub... What it, like, the whole thing was with Grub, kind of... maybe you went into some of the hero stuff a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to save Hard Eyes and Hellclaw for the second episode, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty sure I talked about everyone except Hellclaw and Hard Eyes to some extent.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't know if you talked about Diamond, but maybe I just have a bad memory too.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about Diamond. Here's the thing, I don't really have a lot of story for Diamond. They're
extremely
a little more of a side character.
Yeah, it seems like Grub, Vermin, kind of... I mean, maybe King Shit also, just because I like King Shit, so I'm like, yeah, they're a main character in my heart. What's not to love about Big Buff Lady?
Yeah, King is a little more central.
Good.
She's Vermin's roommate, as we're about to discover. So, Vermin and Grub meet. Vermin is pretty fucking dumb. They just found this person dying in the desert. Instead of getting them to shelter, they're like, hey, I'm like going to a Titan drop to go look for trash. Do you want to come with me? And Grub is just like, yeah, I don't have anywhere else to go, so yes.
I think dumb people are just happier.
Yeah, Vermin is thriving. They're doing great.
God, I wish that were me.
Not a care in the world.
Exactly. They go to pick up trash, and like they meet, it kind of does the thing that you have to do in the first episode of an anime where there's just like a fight against some jobbers so that the protagonist can show off the cool shit they do. That happens. There's like a couple of bandits, and Vermin just like wastes them instantly by doesn't kill them, but does, I think, probably cuts one of their fingers off. Just kind of shows off that, they can't really be touched by weapons because because of their agility and sort of practiced fighting skill, and also their sort of superpower that just lets them kind of steal everything they touch.
How convenient.
It is very convenient power for someone who's scavenging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, then they go back to Vermin's home. Vermin is like, hey, if you don't have anywhere to go, I probably should, let you stay the night or something. Or you could just live in my house for, for indefinite period of time. I'm fine with that. I'm not really thinking about things.
Tell me you
So,
don't have to pay rent without telling me you don't have to pay rent.
Exactly.
You don't, Vermin not thinking about how another mouth to feed, but also Grub probably doesn't need as much.
Yeah. So they get back to the house and, they meet King, who raises that exact fucking point, like, hello, we don't have enough food for a third person.
And then Grub
What
out
are you
here
doing?
being like, I don't need as much, it's fine, I'm good.
Yeah. So yeah, we do kind of get introduced to King. Grub is terrified of her because she's a big buff lizard lady. She's got that intimidating appearance, but she's a lot more chill than Vermin, frankly. So
Love that.
one of the things that Grub actually managed to find while they were at the Titan drop is a sewing needle, and Vermin is like, holy shit, those are famously hard to find, can I have it please? And Grub is like, sure, I don't even know what it's for. So Vermin kind of like just is like, hey, I have this cloak that got pretty torn up. I'm gonna show you how I fix it using this needle and thread. And so, they just kind of like have a quiet little scene together where Vermin is like stitching up this cloak, and and then Grub is just like, oh, I'm extremely fucking gay for this stinky little trash boy.
I'm not gonna lie, if I was in a post-apocalyptic world and someone offered to fix my clothes for me and then did that, I would also instantly fall in love.
Yeah.
It's just a skill that I find very sexy.
Grub finding out that he's a morosexual.
So, that entire chapter is primarily about, like, introducing the characters. Like, we got Vermin, they are someone who extremely doesn't think things through and just kind of goes on their, first instinct, but, they're a kind person, they get into fights very quickly, but also, like, they try not to kill anyone if they can help it. And Grub, who is just this ball of anxiety, who is doing his best, even though he should probably be dead. And then there's King, who's just like, all right, I'm a little over this, but so then we also get introduced to the villains, because there is basically a shipment of food and supplies going out from the town that Vermin lives on the outskirts of, and it gets attacked by bandits, like including the two guys who Vermin kicked the asses of earlier, and leading this sort of small army of bandits is a funny little guy called Hellclaw, who decided to name himself Hellclaw for some reason. 'Cause it's a cool name, that's the reason. At least he thinks so. And Hard Eyes, who is seemingly sort of his second in command. We'll learn more about them both, but for now, it's just like, they fucking flip over this truck, and Hellclaw is like, okay, just like, we take what we need, we kill the drivers, we burn everything else. And Hard Eyes is like, whoa, hold up, we don't need to kill anyone here, that's kind of not what we do. But then Hellclaw is like, actually, I'm the one who gives orders and decides things, so please kill those two innocent people for me, actually. And they do.
Shit.
I mean, yeah.
Hard Eyes is still very much like, I'm against this. Hey, actually, no, what are you doing with that axe? No, fucking stop. But yeah.
Has this been, like, not something Hellclaw has done before, then?
Oh yeah, is this the first murder?
It would seem that way.
Damn, baby's first murder.
Baby's first murder. Unless there's something in Hellclaw's past where they may... Where he may have caused, several deaths, who could say?
Let's find out about that.
Let's find out about that. So chapter 2, I kind of just like not a lot happens in chapter 2. It's, first chapter was an introduction to the characters. Second chapter is more of an introduction to the town itself. I don't think I've settled on like an actual name for the town. But, they just kind of go around. They see where the food comes from. They sort of see like, how, Grub gets introduced to like this sort of farming town. Like we kind of go around and see like, okay, here's how we sort of make a little sort of anarcho-communist society work in the post-apocalypse, where everything we have basically has to be like salvaged and restored. And also, like, there's fucking poison everywhere in the air and water, so we have to, like, be very careful about filtering it out. And, just, like, protecting our crops and shit. So Grub is kind of like, wow, I actually kind of really like it here. I kind of want to just, like, live in this place and contribute to the community. So he decides to become a farmer. And that's nice for him.
Yeah.
And then we, cut back to the bandits. Hard Eyes confronts Hellclaw and is like, hey, what the fuck was that? What the fuck was that earlier? We really don't do that. Like, we really only kill people in, like, out of self-defense or necessity. That was completely uncalled for. I don't like this bold new direction you're going in, homie. And Hellclaw is like, whatever, who gives a shit? I already killed, like, an entire town. Like, what do you care? What, none of this really fucking matters. And Hard Eyes is like, genuinely, that wasn't your fault. Like, yeah, all those people died. I think you're being a little too, hard on yourself there.
Yeah.
And then Hellclaw is just like, well, I fucking wanted them to die and they did. So actually, I think I did do it. Like,
He manifested it.
And also, like, hey, what are you defending me about? Like, didn't you have fucking parents in that town? What happened to them, huh? Want to tell me about that? So, yeah, and Hard Eyes is just kind of like, well, fuck, I still think we shouldn't kill people now, actually.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to add to the pile of death.
Yeah, exactly. So then, chapter 3, we kind of cut, to a different place and perhaps a different time.
Ooh.
So we are in the town of Prosperity, and kind of the narrative shifts focus to be like from the perspective of a young child, and this child is having like a very melodramatic monologue of like sort of describing the power that they've had since since they were, it's basically as long as they remember. So they're sort of saying like, oh, I've always had this power. Anything I touch can be multiplied seemingly without limit. Like, they can basically create infinite copies of any, sort of the last object they have touched. But then also this power comes with a curse because, anytime they touch a copy of something that they made, then all the copies will disappear except that one.
Interesting.
So we see how kind of how this town that they lived in called Prosperity, and it's called that because, hey, they basically have infinite resources, in a post-apocalyptic world where, things are really, really hard to come by, if you can just, make infinite solar panels just by having this one kid touch them, or, then you're kind of fucking good to go. It still takes, a lot of, labor and hours, but, as far as materials are concerned, you're basically covered.
That's so crazy. Can you not just, copy the one time, you made a solar panel fully formed, and then they touch it and duplicate how it looks that way? Or is it only the material that duplicates? If you haven't thought about it, that's fine. I was just...
Yeah, basically they need, a complete working solar panel, but if they touch that, then they can just make, 100 copies at once or something like that.
That's so fucking broken. Yeah, I guess not, because they have the curse, but, on the outside, that seems, really fucking good.
Yeah, it's, here's the thing, it kind of makes this town, extremely fucking wealthy in in post-apocalyptic terms, but as the sort of wealth and material conditions of this town improve, the child just becomes more and more alienated from it, because it's oh, you can't walk into this building actually because all the bricks were created by you. Oh, you can't play with these other kids because all their toys, you can't touch them. Going through scenes like that.
Omelas ass.
Yeah, and then we kind of see this child becoming increasingly alienated and increasingly bitter and angry at the town. And then kind of we cut to a scene of the child being reprimanded by the town's mayor, and we learn that this is because they fucking wanted to do a little prank out of their sort of anger and resentment, so they touched a solar panel and the entire fucking power grid went out.
Don't you just hate when you make a little oopsie?
Yeah, little oopsie. So the mayor is super fucking pissed about it, is hey, you caused so much trouble for everyone, you shitty little kid, how could you have done this? You need to make those solar panels come back right now. And the kid is I fucking hate you, how about no?
I can't believe you've done this.
So they just go to jail. They go to little tiny baby jail, and the mayor is okay, you can stay in your room until you've thought about what you've done. And this fucking sucks. Obviously, this isn't doing anything to help the child's feelings of anger and alienation. They're just wow, you're even if I do what you want, you'll still probably just keep me in here because you would love it if I can just create infinite resources for you and then just never ever be never be a danger to you by ever interacting with the things that I've created. And then so the town is kind of working to restore power. And then there's an even bigger crisis because fucking uh-oh, sisters, there's a Grey Titan just kind of sauntering towards that there prosperity. And kind of the thing about Grey Titans, they're really fucking big, and they don't really seem to have, like, any consciousness or, like, awareness about the world around them. So if they're walking towards a town, they're just gonna walk through the town and quite possibly crush everything in it. So the town is kind of like, the thing is, like, they live under, like, a giant glass dome, which was, possible to create because of, like, because of, like, the child, like, creating, enough fucking glass to make it happen. And like, consequently, like, they don't actually have a lot of masks in the town because, people can just kind of, like, walk around in the open.
Oh no.
The mayor is, like, running around trying to, like, actually before that, they're seen sort of, like, chastising this older kid, this, like, militia member who is, like, in trouble for starting a fight, and they're sort of like, hey, should you even be in the militia? Like, are you don't seem old enough. And the kid is like, well, fucking whatever. I can't make money as a scavenger anymore because, everything, we can just have infinite copies of everything. So, like, you don't really need me to pick up trash. So, I can fight. So I joined the militia. That's the fucking thing I did. So, so then, like, news comes that the Titan is headed their way, and the mayor is just like, all right, you want to stop being in so much trouble. Here's the first act of community service you can do. Take this mask to the child that we've got in our little child prison, and get some copies out of them. And it's like, hey, this child's been pretty uncooperative lately. They might not want to make the copies, so, you can just, like, just kind of, like, do what you have to, wink wink, and the older kid is just like, yeah, sure, torture a child, whatever. So they, like, fucking go down to the child prison, and then they kind of have this moment where it's like, oh shit, they really put a fucking kid in prison, didn't they? I don't feel so good about that.
Yeah, no.
So, the older kid who's, like, 16 or like a teenager, and the younger kid who I kind of imagine as being around 10, like, the older kid is just, like, trying to talk to them, and they're like fucking, the younger kid is just, like, super fucking pissed off, just, like, not having it. And when the older kid is like, hey, I need to make copies of this mask, the younger kid just, like, has a fucking, just starts having, like, a screaming fit about it. Like, if I make you those masks, then there won't be one for me.
Oh.
And the older kid is like, oh shit, wait. No, it's all good. Listen, you can have my mask. And they pull it out, and it's the Hard Eyes mask. So I wonder what that means. Couldn't possibly be anything.
Couldn't be anything.
So then, like, after this, like, the mayor shows up and is like, hey, what's the fucking hold up? We need those masks yesterday. And the older kid is like, hey, they don't want to do it. I don't think it's a good idea to try and force it out of them. Maybe we should, like, give this kid a little space and, like, not put the survival of the entire town on their shoulders. And the mayor is just like, no, fuck you. I'll fucking I'll get those masks even if I have to, like, pick up the kid and shake them.
No, don't shake the kid.
So the older kid is like, actually, fuck you. I'm gonna kick your ass if you try that. Yeah, we find out that the older kid also has a power where they can basically sort of propel any object that they touch. Like, they can just kind of like
let's go.
sort of force push it forward, and like anything that they force push just like has an invisible or like an unbreakable string connected to it that they can sort of lengthen and shorten at will. So they can kind of like just, you know, kind of turn anything into like a tethered like projectile, basically.
An unstoppable force.
And so they like have a grappling hook that they just like fucking meteor hammer swing at the mayor, and kind of you know, just fucking doink them on the head, and then make a run for it. Oh, I fucking forgot to say earlier, like the mask that the mayor gave to the militia kid to get copies of, that's the Hellclaw mask. So the older kid is just like fucking puts the Hellclaw mask on the younger kid, and they fucking run out of there. So now it's kind of becoming clearer who is actually who in this situation. You know, older kid is wearing the Hard Eyes mask, younger kid is wearing the Hellclaw mask. So they just run out of town, and you know, they sort of look back and see the glass dome getting smashed behind them, and like they run into a handful of people who like do have masks, and managed to evacuate the town, but it's like not a lot of people, especially compared to how many there were just like in the town as a whole. And they're all like, hey, wasn't that kid supposed to make fucking masks for the entire rest of the town? What happened to that? We it kind of seems like everyone died because of you, and Hard Eyes is just like, all right, fuck you. We're gonna get out of here. Like, there's clearly nothing left for either of us here. This is a terrible fucking place, and actually maybe everyone should be dead. I don't care. So they just kind of leave and kind of become nomads, going from town to town, and eventually turn to banditry to make ends meet. And yeah, so that's kind of where those two are coming from. And now like they're both a lot older, and Hard Eyes is kind of starting to be like, well, maybe it was actually a bad fucking decision to just take this small child, like, away from any sort of society where, you know, they might have been able to exist. Maybe actually fucking cynical mythanthropic teenage me made a pretty bad fucking decision that I didn't make a good follow through on. And now this fucking kid I've been taking care of has become a murder sicko.
Oh
Oops.
no, hate when that happens.
Not the murder sicko.
That's kind of the bulk of chapter 3. Chapter 4, the bandit leader is just like, you know what? You know, I'm kind of doing the whole murder sicko thing. Maybe I'll just attack this town for no reason, you know? We got some good supplies out of them when we just knocked over that truck. Maybe we should actually just kind of stroll in there and take even more. So and there, you know, so he's, you know, so Hard Eyes is like, we don't need to do that at all. Like, we can and should just leave. And Hellclaw is like, no, this is what we're doing. I've made my decision. You can either help me or fuck off. And Hard Eyes is like, well, shit, despite everything, you still are like the only family that I really have at all. So yeah, I guess I'm doing this, actually. And meanwhile, back in the town, Diamond assigns Vermin, King, and Grub to be the escorts of this new supply truck that they're sending out, because it's like, hey, we've got these guys with superpowers who can all fight, and their weird little bug friend. I guess he can come along too. So yeah, and then Hellclaw sort of anticipates this and is like, yeah, they're probably gonna send out, like, the fighters of the town to, like, guard this next shipment. We know they're sending more stuff out. Like, me and Hard Eyes will just, like, intercept the truck. The rest of you, like, go raid the town. So then there's just, like, a lot of fighting ensues. It's kind of like the townsfolk versus the bandits, and then, like, further away from everything, it's Vermin and King versus Hellclaw and Hard Eyes, and King and Hard Eyes kind of like fight to a standstill. Like, King is just like really strong and has tough scales and can kind of shrug off basically anything that Hard Eyes throws at them, but like also King is more of a close range fighter and can't really land any hits on Hard Eyes, who is like mostly projectile based and also pretty agile. So eventually like Hard Eyes just like I think, like, throws the entire supply truck at King, and King just fucking stances up and, like, deflects it as it's coming at them. They just kind of, like, push it out of the way, and off to the side. And Hard Eyes is like, well, I think I have to, like, reconsider all my life decisions to this point. I think I fucked up pretty bad, actually. What am I doing here, actually? Can we have a truce?
He's trying to figure out, like, how do I get that old save file back?
So, King is just like, yeah, sure, whatever. We can do that. Just fucking don't trick me. And then, like, meanwhile, Vermin and Hellclaw are fighting. They're both, like, the fast, agile type. Like, they can both, like, throw shit and have it do devastating stuff. Like, Hellclaw, just because, like, he can throw his spear and make 1,000,000 copies of it. And Vermin, just because, like, they can throw their knife and then, like, switch it with a big rock or a car or something. Kind of bad for both of them if it becomes a ranged fight, so they're both sort of like very conscious of like, keeping within the right range of each other, and also like they can both just do moves where they steal your weapon. Like Vermin obviously can just like recall anything that they touch to their hand, so like if they manage to graze a hit, then they can just steal your weapon. Hellclaw can essentially do the same thing, but instead of like returning it directly, they can just like make copies of the thing and then grab a copy, and suddenly, he has it and you don't. So they have a fight where, kind of both of their powers are making things very complicated for both of them, and until eventually Hellclaw like lands a hit, stabs Vermin in the side, and then Vermin does their sort of one-hit kill move that they've been reluctant to use at this point, where it's like, hey, remember earlier when I punched you in the face? Your mask is mine now.
Oh, no.
So Hellclaw is kind of like left without a mask. And there's this huge dust storm actually that's been going on, which is like kind of how the bandits were able to approach this town unseen with like the with the cover of the dust storm. and like all that wind is like kicking up a lot of pollen, so Hellclaw starts dying immediately, and right away Vermin is like, oh shit, maybe I actually don't want this person to die. They kind of did some rough stuff, but frankly, honestly, if I'm being real with myself, that was a pretty good fight, and this seems like a bad way to end it, so I'm gonna try to save their life. So he, like, fucking pops the helmet back on Hellclaw as he's, like, suffocating and dying, and, like, basically, like, runs him back to town just to, like, try and get him some medical attention. Meanwhile, the townsfolk are fighting the bandits, and, turns out, like, just surviving in the apocalypse in general, you're just, like, you kind of gotta pick up some fighting skills as a matter of necessity. So actually, like, the townspeople are, like, holding their own pretty well. They've got Diamond leading them, and, and Diamond, like, with their power can kind of, like, reinforce everyone's clothing and basically turn it into armor. So they're actually doing pretty well for themselves. The five others, they, like, make it back, like, they get Hellclaw to the town doctor, who is kind of like, wow, you want me to treat this asshole, huh? The one who killed my brother, the truck driver, earlier. That's you really want me to do that, huh? You think this guy is worth it, spending our limited medical resources on someone who is probably gonna die anyway, and also killed someone pretty fucking important to me personally. And Vermin is just like, I mean, yeah, can we do that? And then Hard Eyes kind of makes an appeal like, please, I know we've made some mistakes, but this is someone really important to me. I just please do something. And the doctor is actually like, yeah, okay, I guess it is kind of my job and everything. Maybe, so I'll do it anyway. You sure do owe me a big fucking favor, though. So Hellclaw, like, gets medical attention, is dying less now, is actually managing to recover a little bit. Meanwhile, Hard Eyes is just like, how fucking dare you, steal Hellclaw's mask? That's a fucked up thing to do to a person, and Vermin is just like, yeah, you know what? I agree with you. I acknowledge that. And Hard Eyes is just like, shit, hard to be mad at you. You're kind of just a dumb little idiot. But I'm pretty stressed about my best friend dying, so...
It's like, Hard Eyes, my dude, you killed some people. I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Yeah, so then, like, Hellclaw and Hard Eyes kind of have a moment where Hellclaw is like, yeah, I'm sorry for being so fucked up lately. I feel really bad about the time I kind of made an entire town die. I don't feel great about that. I think maybe I've been trying to become the kind of person who wouldn't care about that and feel an immense amount of guilt about it.
Sorry about the murder. I was going through some things.
But you know what? That's probably been worse, actually. So, and Hard Eyes is like, yeah, I think it was also probably bad of me to, force a child to, like, become a wandering nomad and a bandit. That was my fault, honestly. Actually, you should be pretty pissed off at me. And Hellclaw is just like, well, I can't, 'cause you're the only person who ever gave a shit about me or treated me like a person. So, their friendship is reaffirmed. They're important to each other. They're, We love a fraught but caring friendship, you know?
They're going through it.
They're going through it.
And then we find that a big fucking titan is walking at the town. We didn't see it earlier because of the dust storm, but oh boy, it's there. This is just like what happened with Prosperity.
Yeah, it was
and
like Flashback City.
and so it's like, all right, shit, we gotta get this place evacuated. We gotta get everyone out of here. Start packing up your things, and then like, you know, Hellclaw like fucking storms out of their sort of sick bed room, and he's like, no, everyone fucking stay where they are. And it's like, homie, what are you doing? Why are you saying this? And Hellclaw is just like, oh, we're definitely gonna kill that Titan. So yeah, at first everyone is like, that isn't like a thing that you do. Did you see how big they are? And Hellclaw is like, I don't care, we're gonna stop it. Like, we're gonna do whatever we have to do. Basically, the six sort of main characters, they put their heads together, and what they do is basically King and Diamond take the sewing needle from earlier and make it basically big and indestructible. Meanwhile, Hard Eyes and Vermin fucking suit up to basically grappling hook climb their way up the side of the Titan so that they can like hit it from above. And then basically what they do is Vermin uses their power to recall the giant needle. Yeah, like first, fucking Hard Eyes uses her grappling hooks to fucking like launch them off the Titan, off the top of the Titan into the air, and then Vermin like recalls the needle to their hand, and Hard Eye uses their power to fucking just fire it like a projectile, and then like at the exact right moment, the fucking needle multiplies into like 1,000,000 giant indestructible needles from Hellclaw's power, and that actually is enough to take the Titan down. And it's like, oh shit, we did it. But also, and Hard Eyes just like barely manages to make a soft landing by kind of redirecting momentum with like grappling hooks and like and their indestructible strings. Then they all go back to Vermin's house to celebrate, but Vermin takes off their shirt to go in the decontamination showers, because that's what you have to do before you go inside, and they're covered with blood, because remember how they got stabbed earlier? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Vermin sure forgot about it.
His body didn't. That's still bleeding.
So it actually, they don't have sutures or anything, so actually Hard Eyes ends up sewing them up by using the needle and some of the indestructible string created by their power. And then everyone's doing fine, and it's kind of like Hard Eyes and Hellclaw are like, well, we did some bad things, but also like kind of going back to the nomad bandit lifestyle doesn't seem right at this point. Maybe we actually stay here and try helping the people of this town, even though like we killed some of them earlier, but we also saved them, so maybe we can kind of live with that complexity and try to continue to atone for what we've done instead of just running away from it. And that's kind of where that leg of the story ends. I know there's like I do have ideas beyond that I want to use, but yeah, that's kind of the main thrust of what I've got planned out so far.
Yeah, I was like, where's Grub during all this?
Grub is
Grub, you useless gay. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, Grub is a useless gay, frankly.
Aw.
You know, also they tried to sort of intervene in the fight between Hellclaw and Vermin. It didn't go super well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, mostly being useless and gay, frankly. During that fight, we do kind of learn that they have, like, an incredibly powerful, ability where they can just shoot fucking lasers down from the sky. But actually, it turns out that being able to do that isn't really at all very practical and kind of isn't super good for like a 1v1 fight where you're kind of trying not to kill anyone.
I feel like that would be helpful with the Titan, though.
Yeah, I think they do probably provide a little bit of support during the Titan fight. They can maybe like fucking. They can't really do enough damage to, like, they can't really, even with their super powerful lasers, they can't, like, do a significant amount of damage to the Titan, but I think they can provide some support with their power,
I like the idea that, like, maybe it's not as strong if they're trying to use it more than once a day or something. Like, they're, like, a caster. Like, they have a lot of, like, caster vibes, right? Like, where they're, like, kind of magical, but, like, wimpy at the moment, and then they'll, like, exponentially get better as the story goes, just because, like, they have that potential. Not to write your story or anything, that's just the vibe they give off.
Yeah, I think I haven't entirely decided what I want to do with Grub. I think kind of their function is like as kind of an audience surrogate to, like, learn about the whole wasteland world, and, like, I think their own sort of development is something I'd like to explore in, like, a further storyline, but I don't exactly know what shape that's going to take yet. But yeah, they're kind of just there being gay and useless, and you know what? I like that for them.
Sometimes you just are. I was just like, are they a damsel in distress? But, like, no, they don't actually get captured or anything.
No.
At least not yet.
They're just vibing.
They're just
vibing.
They're just like, I don't know, man.
Just being gay, falling in love with Vermin, falling in love with Hellclaw,
Oh no!
Living the life.
My thought was, if I was, like, doing, if I was, like, in the future when you, like, produce this and it's, like, out there and I'm like, wow, I'm in the Grey Pollen fandom. I'm just like, there's gonna be, like, ship fights between Grub Hellclaw, Grub Vermin, but then all the really smart big brain people are gonna be like, obviously it's Hard Eyes and King Shit. That's the ship. They literally fought each other and were like, we decided to have a truce because we're fucking both really strong. Duh.
We're both really strong and really tired.
We're really strong, really tired, and extremely gay. Like,
what more do you want?
The big brains with the, like, because on, like, AO3, like, the FF ships tend to be a little bit smaller unless you're in, like, very specific fandoms. So
to be fair to AO3 on that one, shows tend to forget to give their female characters some personality.
That's true.
Which I don't think is gonna be an issue with Grey Pollen.
No, I'm excited. This is, like, a great, like, first arc of the story. I'm just like, wow, the group is coming together.
Yeah.
They all got a little bit of trauma.
It's really complicated and dramatic. Yay.
Yeah, I am trying to go for like sort of an SA2 thing where you kind of like start off with like the hero's perspective and the villain's perspective, and then they kind of come together in the end.
And it's like, oh no, there's probably going to be a lot of tension between the Talon and Hellclaw Hard Eyes for a while.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, maybe if they can kill a few more giant titans, maybe they can make up for the murders.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah, and also like in further arcs, I kind of want to get into like the more sort of like cosmic horror angel dimension sort of thing where Grub comes from.
I love
Yes.
that vibe.
Yes. I like that this, like the first one, it's like very grounded, even though there's like this weirdo, strange Grub. It's still like fairly grounded because it's like, we got to introduce you to these guys and their traumas.
Yeah.
Initially. Like, maybe we don't know everything about, like, Vermin yet, because, like, they just seem like a happy-go-lucky, but, like...
Yeah.
There's probably something there.
Yeah, like, I definitely have a backstory for Vermin and King in mind. They definitely have their own trauma.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm also very interested about what happens to the, like, other bandits when Hellclaw and Hard Eyes like are like, we're gonna not be bandits now, we're gonna like try to make up to this town. Like, do the other bandits, are they just like, that's cool, or are they like, fuck you, we're leaving, or do they like try to trash the place?
I haven't decided yet.
It's very interesting. It could be split because there could be a couple bandits, and that's fun too. It's like,
exactly,
how much do you want them to be characters versus
which drama do you want them to create?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot that I need to flesh out, both in terms of like the bandits and the townsfolk, because I want to have like I want to have like a bigger cast of side characters to kind of like give the town more of a personality, you know.
The fact I'm even asking these questions, though, means I'm invested, which is, like,
good.
A big thing,
yeah.
because I haven't even fucking, like, read this or whatever. Like, you're just telling me about this, and I'm already invested. That's, like, huge.
Hell yeah. One of these days, I'm gonna actually write this fucking thing. Writing is so hard, though.
Writing is super hard.
Every time I write a line of dialogue, I'm like, does that suck? Does that sound like something a person would actually say, or is it actually just awful?
You get to the actual writing. I keep forgetting to put words on paper.
Like I said, not a lot of actual written material exists. Like, less than the first chapter. Like, the first couple of scenes.
Super valid.
Chapter.
If you ever want, like, a beta reader...
Hell yeah.
Hit me up.
Yeah, I would love to hear your takes on it if I actually commit to fucking writing any of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. I also just like the potential for, like, side guys, because I could just be like, hey, what if you just made this guy in the background? And it's cool. Especially because you've talked about maybe running some kind of, like, small, like, past campaign sort of set in the same Grey Pollen.
Yeah, I would love to run a tabletop RPG in the Grey Pollen setting. I don't want it to have anything to do with, like, the established characters or storyline, though.
Yeah, I understand that.
Could it be in this village still, though? Or whatever? Or would it be somewhere else? Do you think?
It would be somewhere else, for sure.
Okay. Yeah. That's cool, though. Like, we're out doing our own thing. They're doing their own thing. Maybe you'll get, like, ideas for one from the other, though. Like, if you end up, like, running it, you're like, oh, okay, so the player characters are bringing interesting, like, setting elements just by talking through it, and you could maybe include it into your story a little bit and be like, okay, this might work here, or like, oh, maybe there's a relative in this town that's related to like some random relative, you know, like, or like a bandit that's been to both towns, you know.
Yeah, I think it would be really, what I intend to do, and I think this is going to be really cool. I want to like build the town in the tabletop setting sort of collaboratively using the game. Did somebody say street magic? And that's kind of one that lets everyone sort of work together to come up with like NPCs and locations. And I think that would be really cool. I think there's like a ton of like potential ideas to be gained from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there could be a lot of like ideas bouncing back and forth between your story setting and the game setting.
For sure.
That I would be excited about. Yeah. No, this is so cool though.
I'm keeping Elvir up really late, I just realized. So do we want to wrap it up?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't want to say anything because I was like, I'm super interested in this and I want to hear more, but also, I maybe need to go to sleep.
I just get very excited about, I don't know, people's stories.
I get it, because I was also sitting here like, oh, I'm tired, but also this is super interesting. I want to keep listening to it.
All right. Thank you for being interested. I'm glad that I've been entertaining instead of just kind of talking to myself for the for the past hour. What are everyone's plugs?
You can find me at Haunting the Morgue on Tumblr and Blue Sky. You can find me at Gengar on co-host. You can find me on my other podcast, The Sonic Hustle, a holistic Sonic lore podcast, because it's not random anymore. There's complete and holistic Sonic lore podcast. I think that's the tagline. And we're doing a lot of Sonic Adventure 2 right now. Yay! Speaking of SA2, we just finished our recording on the hero mode, so that'll come out at some point. That's kind of it for me.
You can find me on a bunch of social media, but I usually forget they exist, so the best place to find me is matchroomcoughton.tumblr.com. And I have no other podcast or no other project, so super easy.
We love having no other projects. Unfortunately, I'm also on a podcast called We Rate Queerbait, where we explore the blurry line between homie and homo.
Unfortunately.
I am on a Let's Play that Dan is making of the video game Small Saga. Which also features past guest and friend of the show, Patrick. I'm also on an upcoming audio drama pilot. Big news about that recently that I'm not actually allowed to talk about, but get your hopes up. Look forward to it. I'm also on for Affinity with the username Space Robot. I'm taking commissions. You can get in touch with me about that over Discord or spacerobotart@gmail.com. I think that's it for me. This podcast, we're on the social media collectively as well at Check out this guy on Tumblr and co-host. This is also part of the Noisespace.xyz network. Thank you to Matt GameCube for generously hosting us. I think that's about everything. Until next time, fall in love with a stinky little trash boy.
Hell yeah.
Please. We need it. Us stinky trash boys need love too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Goodbye.